Trying to squeeze in here into this little space, you know, trying to configure my studio to make it look cinematic, I guess. But what's up, everybody? I'm RJ Ramsey. I'm a filmmaker, cinematographer, content creator, and this is a true story. So, when I was 16, I got my first job at a fast food restaurant called KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. I can't remember the year. It's probably in 1994, 95 when I got the job or something like that. Probably 94. When I got the job, of course I was excited about the job. I got it. I was able to work throughout high school and everything. And I kind of worked my way up. I started out washing dishes. Then I worked my way up into the chicken room where I was frying the chicken, and then I became a cashier. And by the time I made cashier, I thought I was big stuff, man. I thought I was something in the workplace. And so I was always energetic. I would joke and laugh with everybody on staff. And, there's a couple little cute girls on the staff I was trying to impress. And so on Sundays, we would have pretty heavy traffic. People get out of church, people, would come in and buy food and stuff and eat, but most people would buy it and take it home. But there would always be like some, the local dudes that stood on the corner and hustle, those guys would come in. These two brothers that came in, they bought their food and they always sat in the corner. And so I'm doing my thing, man. I'm back there joking around, and I'm still working and everything. But then this older guy comes in, and he came in often, but I'm not gonna assume that he was homeless, but I could tell that he was poor. He never bought much. It was always small stuff, but we ring him up and he would buy his stuff. Sometimes he would sit down and eat, but most times he would just leave. But this time when he came in, all he asked for was some water, right? And so I told him, I was like, well, sir, that's gonna cost you 15 cents. And I'm looking back at my people that I work with, trying, they laughing, and I'm cracking jokes and stuff, and I'm doing all of this at the expense of this man. I don't know, he was older than me, most definitely, but I was, I was obviously chastising this man, right? And he was like, I don't have 15 cents. I didn't know that we had to pay for water now. And and I'm running all of these lines, and I'm like, well, the policies change, and blah blah whoopty whoop, and so people in the back, they just cracking up, you know what I'm saying? And then the two guys that were sitting down, they saw that. One of them got up, and when he got up, he walked to the counter. He was like, give me some water and tell me it's 15 cents because I'll wait till you get off. He was like, so it's not right. He's like, it's not right for you to sit here and pick on this old man, because he has less than. So you don't know what he been through. You don't know where he came from, what he had to go through in his life. Give the man some water, right? So I made the water and gave it to the guy that stood up, and then he took the water and gave it to the old man. He proceeded to like go off on not just me, but everybody in that worked in the back. And he was like, and all y'all back there laughing, y'all think this is funny? He's like, we'll wait till all of y'all get off. And that right there put fear in my heart, because this OG checked me because I was being foolish. You know what I'm saying? Taught me a valuable lesson. And I learned two things from that. The first thing I learned was that, you don't want to make assumptions about people. We tend to do that a lot. We look at people, somebody that's dressed well, somebody that has a lot, we assume that they have a lot. We look at somebody that's dressed, poor or whatever, they got raggedy clothes or whatever, and we want to make assumptions about what we think they are. And so I learned that valuable lesson because I didn't get that from like anybody in the family. Nobody in my family taught me that. I don't fault my family for that, but it's just that, it's little things like that sometimes the hood will teach you. The neighborhood taught me that. And the second part of that lesson is that life is not always guaranteed for you to be successful. It's not always guaranteed for you to achieve your dreams. Sometimes you have to go through a certain part of your life in order to get to, the place you want to be. So I don't know, maybe that man was going through some stuff. He was going through where he needed to be in his life in order to get where he wanted to be. And so that just taught me some very valuable lessons. And that was my first real lesson in humility and being humble. I was humbled. I was checked, and rightfully so, because I deserved that. I deserved to be reprimanded for that. So I just wanted to share that with y'all because, you know, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world, man, a lot. And the one thing that we tend to, forget about is the human aspect of this thing we call life. We tend to forget that we're dealing with other human beings sometimes. And I learned that. And I have carried that throughout my entire adult life of, seeing the humanity in people. So I hope that this story, true story, y'all, I hope that this story finds you guys well, and maybe you can share and pass it along to somebody else. Peace, y'all.